What's up? It's Sofia Gutierrez with Arena Football One, and today I am joined by none other than Salina Liberty's very own DeWayne Autrey II, aka Ballhawk.
Appreciate it. Much appreciated.
How are you doing? How are things up in Salina?
Oh, good. As you can see, it's a beautiful day out here in Salina, so definitely want to take advantage of just getting outside, getting some of this breeze. Definitely been needing it.
Yeah, I feel you. It's been really nice out here in LA, and any chance I get to go outside, even sit in the sun for a bit, I'll take it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Had to.
Yeah, well, I'm actually going to be in Kansas next week, so I'm looking forward to that. But I'm excited to chop it up with you and talk about how your football journey started. We're going to talk about some of the championships you've won, the bling that came along with it because I peep it.
Blessings, blessings, blessings. Just a
I love
few of the babies on the way. Yeah.
Okay. Now, before we started rolling, we talked a little bit about how you got your start. It's a very interesting one, and I think it's to share with everyone because of how touching it is. Now, tell me what started everything. I know you were just playing with your brother when some guy pulled up in a gold Lexus.
Yeah, that was Coach Combs. Honestly, didn't know it at the time, but I guess he was just recruiting at the time, or just looking for some talented players for the Lamar Hornets that were located back in Fort Bend County out in Texas. But basically, just pulled up, watched us playing elementary kids playing against the middle school and high school kids, holding our own, not crying, literally playing with no shoes on or socks. So as the games, start to die down, lights start coming on, we start making our way towards, the apartment. He's stopping us. And I was a mouthy little kid, so I exchanged words with him in not so pleasant way. But he was like, "Hey, man, it's an adult around here. Let me speak to the adult." And we took him to the apartment with grandma at the time, and she had me and my older brother, younger
Mhm.
brother, and two of my other relatives raising all of us at the same time.
And this
Um,
is Grandma Thelma.
yeah, and yeah, it was hard. Two-bedroom at the time. She was a diabetic, so she was also blind. From diabetes. She had lost one of her legs as well. So it was definitely a trying time for us. But we were just kids. Just out there playing. Honestly,
Mhm.
back to coach, he basically came in, let grandma know that she didn't have to take care of anything because that's what she let him know, that she couldn't afford anything. And he let her know, well, these two boys, we're gonna do everything we can, to take care of everything, and we just want them to play football. And that was in like '96. So from then, uh, that's really what a lot of them coaches did. They took care of us, fed us, made
Mhm.
sure we were eating after school when they picked us up, taking us to practice, getting dressed, getting out of practice and feeding us, going back into the house, and then, making sure we had some extra food, to feed our other brothers and relatives in the house. So definitely
Mhm.
appreciate them for that.
And what was your grandma's her first initial reaction to him wanting you to play football and her already ready to say no? But once he said, "I'm gonna help you," how was that reaction after she heard that?
Grandma, she shedded her tears, and she basically, grabbed me and my brother, my older brother, and kind of just told us, if these men gonna give y'all opportunity to go out there and show them what you can do, I want y'all babies to do that. Just go out there and show them what y'all can do, because y'all know we can't afford it. So if they're gonna take care of it, make it worth it. So from then, that's something me and my older brother we kind of rode out with, and that was sports for us and football, and definitely.
And now let's fast forward to when you got to high school. It had been 29 years since there was a freshman on the varsity team. Now, you went into high school 2004. The last time there was a freshman on the varsity team was 1975. Talk to me how, or tell me how the older guys looked at you because any
Oh,
type of freshman you are, I feel like the seniors, the juniors, they
yeah,
look at you,
that
oh, you're just fresh
that
meat.
that that was one of them situations. Already growing up, fighting and defending myself. At our high school, the underclassmen, you weren't allowed to walk on the varsity field. We had freshman A, B, and C teams, sophomore and JV, and varsity. So that was the thing, having some older relatives on the team at the time. It was one of them things like they weren't there to protect me. They were there to like look at me like, hey, we told you what was coming. Like, so defend yourself. Like, don't let nobody bully you out here. If you got to throw hands, like, throw hands. And it happened a couple times, as a freshman. But after, they seen that I was definitely like, I was a freshman. Like, I carried the name, but I didn't carry myself as a freshman. That went away real fast. So I was able to just, play football, and it was my time to, play
Mhm.
plays.
Now, you went in playing on the offensive side, but one game your team needed help on the defensive side, and you went and filled that role. Tell me what happened during that game.
Honestly, being a freshman coming in to play quarterback, like I said, that game was out of hand, and um, I played defense as well, so they knew that, and they literally just like DeWayne, go in on defense, and literally I remember going against one of the upperclassmen receivers, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we've been waiting on you." But they called me. Well, it was either fresh or rook or something like that. And
Uh-huh.
first play tried to bully me. Second play, they basically it's like running back, but they wanted their number one tailback basically to run me over. And I literally watched the man in the series before, like run over one of our linebackers, put his foot in his chest, and like take off for like 40 more yards, like for a
Mhm.
touchdown. So it was one of them plays where they was like, yeah, we're gonna see if he gonna drop, you know, see what he got. And
Mhm.
caused a fumble. Coach came and picked me up like we won the damn game. But that kind of like set the bar for me, like just my moment. And from there in high school, I was just making my way. I stayed on defense, the rest of my career. But if they needed me on offense, I came over and helped out wherever needed to.
Yeah, it's important, especially when you're in high school, to play more than just one position because at the end of the day, you're playing with a team. You got to go where it's going to benefit the team. So that's awesome. Now, I want to get into what happened your senior year. You're 17 years old and something happens that breaks your knee, your pelvis, and your hip.
Uh, Staying with my girlfriend at the time. Uh, Pops had just had their youngest daughter, and we were basically just switching out for the night, like letting him come get some rest. Caught a flat on the highway, pulled over to the side, to where they couldn't get out. Basically, was pulling the tire off, and as I was pulling the tire off, the car hit me in my hip, drugged me. It was like 5 yards. Uh, Split my knee open down to the bone. My off-duty police officer was driving by in a matter of like 5 minutes. Called it in. Basically came and got me, took me down to the hospital. Got there. So being a kid, they had me in the adult infirmary,
Mhm,
basically. So seeing a lot of gruesome stuff.
mhm,
But basically, when they came to wheel me back and everything like that, and check me out, the first nurse came in and said that I broke my knee, hip, and pelvis, just off of looking at it, without any X-rays or MRIs. And then the second nurse came in and told me that I basically wouldn't walk again, and basically looked at her, um, you know, broken, fell off that bed, used the wall to crawl up and move my feet, barely, and blood was going everywhere. And the fact that I seen my feet move, like barely, like without any help, besides the wall, like I cussed the nurse out, like in a very bad way. Um, Called my mom as much as I could that night. She came the next morning, took me out the hospital, wasn't discharged. So when I got back to high school, uh, they wasn't able to give me physical therapy because I wasn't discharged. So
mhm.
uh, basically just went to the local YMCA, Fitness Connection at the time down there in Pasadena. And for 3 weeks straight, I was in the pool. like just moving, like whatever I could move in my body. And the moment that my feet got back to, moving up and down, I started running. The moment that I was able to like jump, like I started doing explosion jumps out of the pool. And honestly, before that accident, I was running probably like a 5 flat 40, just not even knowing how to run. After that, I came back running like a 4.7. So it was crazy. Just perseverance and the dedication, that I just started understanding, and the work, and it was just no different. Like I started telling people and understanding that story. Like people go to the army, lose limbs, eyes, and things like that, come back and live, full lives, and they're okay. And I was no different, but it definitely had to start, trusting and believing in God so much more, leaving it
Mhm.
all.
Now, do you think if you would have stayed at the hospital, things would have been different than where you're at now? Because seeing your feet moved, it seemed like that was all right, if I can see my feet move, I know I can make it through this. Do you think it would have been a different outcome if you still stayed?
Uh, yeah, because growing up in the church, we had a little saying, in the back of the pew, and it was Great Design Baptist Church,
Mhm.
and it was walk by faith and not by sight, and that literally was like that moment. So, and it also made me even more stubborn when it came to sports and listening to doctors. Like,
Mhm.
it's like, hey, one thing about it, I know you get paid to tell me this, like
Mhm.
bread on the machine. So understanding like God is God, and
Mhm.
if leave it to Him, and that's what He has you doing, like He'll definitely take you through, what a human being or a man said you couldn't.
Mhm. That is beautiful. Now, you mentioned 3 weeks after you were already, working out, feeling better, getting better by yourself at the local Y. Now, you considered a scholarship that you got from Arizona State, but you ended up choosing to go with your brother. Talk to me about that decision and why you made it.
Because it was like just the fact of just being considered red shirt or wanting me to red shirt after the film. And I was like, nah, stubborn me. It's like, I'm going to play, be a true freshman wherever I go. And then also, my mother's words, rest in peace. Her words always was to me and my brothers, when we leave the house, or if she ever left, only person we'll have will be each other. So I was like, well, that didn't work out. So let me go play ball with my older brother, because I only got to play my first year of football with them in Little League. Going into middle school, we didn't get to be on the same team. High school, he didn't. We played on varsity together. I think it was his senior year, my junior year. So those were the only times that we got to play together on the same team in life. So I just made that decision. I just wanted to go play ball with my brother again in college, and the rest was history.
Mhm, mhm. Now, when your mom, Catherine, passed, you had your first child born. Is it that same week or that same month?
It was that same month, literally 2.5 weeks later, 3 weeks later. Yeah.
Uh-huh. How was that having a new child come into your life after losing one of the most important women in your life?
That walk by faith, not by sight, honestly, because that was a real dark time in my life, a real dark time. And before having him, I didn't leave my room for like 2 weeks after my mom got killed. Honestly, I only left my room to go get breakfast, lunch, or dinner to feed moms. Make sure that she was eating everything like that, or to go to football practice.
Mhm.
But then it was like, I never, when she wasn't, away. She was a strong woman of 4 young kings, so it was like, I know things was hard, but she always made a way. So it was just that understanding, like mom always made a way, even when it wasn't a way. So right now I'm just in that position, and that's kind of what she prepared me for. So I had me getting ready for, the whole time. Like it's not gonna be a way, but you're gonna have to make one.
Mhm,
Not
mhm,
looking at parenthood or where help gonna come from, but at the end of the day, we do got God, and I mean you got left and right foot, left and right hand. So make a plan and make a way.
mhm. Now, keeping your faith in God now led you being in Salina, getting a few championship rings. Talk to me about the transition moving from Texas, which is a huge football state, to now playing in Salina, and how that opportunity came about back in 2012, 2013.
Honestly, it was one of those situations. Like I tell guys, I'm the tryout guy. Like I was working in finish line at that time, like fatherhood. Trying to make
Mhm.
sure I'm taking care of baby boy, and they were just doing the interviews. I think they were just starting the team for the Bombers. It's like, hey man, you look like you play football. I didn't say much. It's like, hey, come to the interview. It's like I'll be working, but they actually told me to come to the tryout. It was one of the first dudes that they signed out of 200 people. But I was already working out with my older brother to play with Wichita Wild, because that's who he originally signed to. And then when the opportunity came that they were going to have a professional team in town, I was like, hey, like it'll be a chance for us to, play again together in town, and just do it this way. So he came and signed back with Salina, and, we went that way with it.
Yeah. Now, I got to talk to you when you guys played, man, was it Oregon when I was there? No, it was Albany.
Albany, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Albany.
Yeah, and I was doing a jewelry check
Yeah,
on everybody there, and I saw your grills. I was like, "Ooh, I should have brought mine out, but don't worry, I'll wear them next time I see you."
yeah, that's what I said. I was like, oh man, she got the drip game proper. Okay, I appreciate you. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and you
Like,
know I had to be Johnny
that's
Dang.
like, that. Yeah, we talk about that. Yeah, down in the H.
Yeah. Now, which rings are you wearing right now?
Salina, and then this is one of my youth coaching ones, and then Texas Bulls, North Texas Bulls, 22, 23, and then this past year or this year. So
Okay, now you said youth coaching?
yeah, so this basically just mentoring and coaching out there in Colorado with a
Mhm.
lot of the kids that I have been, just training throughout the years, and it just put me in the opportunity to be on one of the all-star teams, and that's basically what I've started doing now, because it's definitely, something that I've been pushing for to help out there in that state, being that it has been forgotten about at times when it comes to just those athletes. I mean, McCaffrey's coming from there, Lindsey, they have hella D1 athletes, pro athletes, Lindell White. Like, a lot of people, like, when they think about that, they forget, like, those people coming from Colorado. Like, so just putting and giving them that exposure, giving them their flowers that they deserve, being a professional from the state of Texas and seeing a lot of great athletes playing with, and, just honestly, like, I would say scouting them, seeing the progression and developing, just seeing talent. The moment that they gave me that opportunity to do that for Colorado, I accepted it, and basically have been doing, my due diligence, I believe, to, get them that respect and recognition that they deserve. We just actually this past year finally got, I think it was 30 plus Colorado kids in the U.S. Army Bowl for the first time in a long time. So, and that's the thing, definitely coming back this next year, striving to have Team Colorado in a position to compete at the U.S. Army Bowl, and get that recognition. They definitely seeing that is a state that has many athletes at, all levels.
Many athletes in different sports. There's a lot of boxers that come out of Colorado Springs specifically.
Yep.
It's almost like a full circle moment. Now, I know these kids are probably older, but kind of like how coach reached out to you and your brother when you guys were running around playing with the older kids. How important do you think it is for guys who are in your position and playing at your level to be a mentor to the younger kids who also maybe they don't have parents who can't help them financially play a sport? Because I've been there before, and it's kind of like it takes someone who's willing to help be there emotionally and financially for them to even try to get to that next level.
Definitely. I mean, it's almost like speaking to any of my, brothers I have gained in this football uh, game. I keep it blunt with them, and I keep it serious with them. Like, hey, if you're in a position to pass these jewels down to the next generation and you don't, then you miss what this was about. it wasn't about this. Like, it wasn't about the stats. Like, honestly, like if you're playing X amount of years as a professional, or as an athlete, and you're not in the position to pass that knowledge back down to the younger generation and to help them, surpass them speed bumps, that we may have faced, walk, around them corners that, like we turned the wrong way on. Um, Basically, like, I've seen that and went through it. We're in that position. It's times that we spend, 20, 30 to 100, maybe $300, $400, $500,000, and I'm serious, on, materialistic things, me, myself included. But I start moving in the way before I do spend that money on this. Like, I will be in a position, and I will just give that randomly, to some of these kids, and just knowing, like, man, you don't have an attitude, because you're a bad kid or you're a mean kid. It's honestly probably because, hey, what you eat this morning? And that's how I come at them sometimes, and they laugh at me like, dang, coach, how did you know? It's like, because I was that kid, you know. Um, and then at times, like, I don't try to get, too into their lives, but you can tell, I've been through the domestic violence, in the household. And, at times where we're expecting these kids, to go to school with a clear mind and a clear conscience. Like, man, like, think about it. Like, you're telling this kid, to go there and focus on, school grades and making it past this. And, we've dealt with bullies and all of this stuff. So it's like things that, you know, dealt with, and strive to, help others understand, man, we don't condone this. Think about it, what if it was our own child, So I want to have them in these positions to have these tools that we didn't have, and give it to them, Um, and that's another thing. It's like I tell them, it's like I don't care for the sex ed, when it comes to these kids, but I do care for them to understand, mental health, awareness and things like that. Things that they will, be needing, and it shouldn't take, getting in trouble later on in life, to get the help. You should be This should be like curriculum, being passed up. So when they do face these, things, going to, whatever profession they want to make in life, they're able to adjust and, have the right tools to, work and get through things, instead of, like some see, like picking up guns and things like that, or, you know, uh, resorting to joining gangs for protection and things like that, when you can resort to, a mentor, for protection and just guidance. And that's at times what, kids do. They're doing these things, for guidance and protection. And we're
Mhm.
right here, so it's like we're in that position. Like, why not do it?
Yeah. Well, DeWayne, I appreciate you not only taking the time to chat with me, but sharing everything that you're doing. It's a full circle moment. And I know you said you are helping give the youth the flowers they deserve, but I'm here to tell you that I hope you're getting the flowers you deserve for everything that you're doing with the youth, everything that you've done in life, being so resilient and still always smiling. Because even that first day that I saw you, you were smiling in good spirits. So I appreciate you.
Like, I honestly tell people, it's like, it's something I caught on to, like, sometimes you have to smile to keep from crying, and it's not a bad thing, but, just that smile, it help, some other people smile when they're going through some things, that I'm probably going through as well. But, it's like, hey, put a smile on, you know, it's like, definitely being from Houston, and ain't nothing wrong with, showing the grill. So,
Yeah, yeah. I love that. Oh, well, DeWayne, I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. I'm excited to be back in Kansas and we can chop it up then. But until then, I hope you have a great rest of your day and we will be in contact.
all right, definitely, definitely much appreciated. Thank you again for having me on.
Of course. Thank